This week we'll be turning our attention to Asia for two Chinese poets and a philosopher whose impact is still felt today. First, we're reading the Analects of Confucius. The Analects is a collection of sayings attributed to the Chinese philosopher Confucius and is believed to have been written by Confucius's followers between 475 BC and 221 BC. It grew to be one of the central texts of Confucianism. Even though little is known about Confucius himself, the Analects has been one of the most widely read and studied books in China for the last 2,000 years and continues to have a substantial influence today. The Analects, like the Ramayana, is designed to teach readers how to live within their responsibilities to their families and communities. To provide more context on this and how Confucius influenced Chinese culture and history, I've posted a crash course from John Green in your modules. Then we're exploring a new form of literature, lyric poetry. Lyric poetry is what you probably think of when you imagine a poem, a shorter text that expresses the thoughts or emotions of the speaker and usually has a set form or rhythm. Lyric poetry dates back to the earliest examples of writing and is featured as part of the literary development of most cultures. It can be distinguished from dramatic or narrative poetry, like many of the epics that we've read. Reading lyric poetry is a bit different from reading prose text or even narrative poetry in that the meaning is often more difficult to determine because the language is much more minimal and writers rely significantly on imagery, symbolism, and even the sound and rhythm of the poem to bring across the meaning of the poem. First, we have a selection from one of the major texts in Chinese literature, Classics of Poetry. Also called Book of Songs, this book is a collection of 305 mostly anonymous poems. Unlike many ancient literary traditions which began with the epics of gods and heroes, Chinese literature is founded on these lyric poems which gained importance in political, social, and educational aspects of the culture. They were included in the education of every person in elite classes. Tradition credits the compilation of poems to Confucius, that important philosopher, and his writing shows significant respect for the texts. The poem represents people from all walks of life in Chinese culture and explore social conflict, romance, history, and even politics. A later example of Chinese poetry comes from Li Bo, a Tang dynasty writer. He had influential connections at court that led to a post at an academy known for supporting unconventional intellectuals. Li Bo, however, was too unconventional even for them, and he was dismissed after 2 years because of his drinking and general eccentricity. Contemporaries refer to him as the banished immortal because of his flair and his unusual approach to life and poetry. After supporting the wrong side of a rebellion, he was exiled but allowed to return before his death. Unlike most poets of his time, Li Bo does not focus on the world at hand. Rather, he draws on myth, history, and even magic to add another dimension to the everyday. We have around 1,000 poems by Li Bo still preserved today, and he has become known as a poet who broke with tradition and social convention. As always, you have your weekly discussion board, focusing this time on our poets. Your second essay is also posted. Like last time, you'll be writing a literary analysis focused on one or more of the texts that we've read. You have new prompts and new texts, though. For this essay, you can choose anything from weeks 4 to 7. That's the Ramayana, Beowulf, this week's Chinese writers, and next week's The Pillow Book and Atsumori. Read the directions carefully, ask questions if you have them, and review the materials in your module when you need to. Don't forget to include a clear claim in a formal thesis statement, supporting quotes cited using MLA style, and an elevated tone. I'll be posting comments on your first essay in the next week or so. Be sure to review those so that you can fix any issues in this second essay. Just like last time, you'll be sharing your draft with a tutor or peer, so plan accordingly. Happy reading and writing this week.